Federal agents conducted a sweep at a parking lot today for rideshare drivers. The parking lot is just steps from O'Hare Airport. Our Regina Waldrop has been there for several hours. Regina, federal agents were there twice today now?
Yeah, Natalie, they were the last time around 2:15, and we were here to catch them in action. So here's what they were asking of drivers. Are you a U.S. citizen, and do you have proof? And one of the agents even came up to me, asked me the same question. But here's what I want you to do. Take a look at this parking lot. It's about 50, 60 cars here, but I am told it is usually packed with several hundred rideshare vehicles, but not today. And also keep in mind, some of the vehicles here were towed away. So federal agents were everywhere in what is known as Alpha Lot. It is a desert. So federal agents were everywhere in what is known as Alpha Lot. It is a designated spot for rideshare drivers. Several people were handcuffed and taken into custody. In all, we'd say agents were here for about 15 to 20 minutes, and they showed up in nondescript white minivans. This was the second time today that ICE had come here. Here is what one driver told us happened around 10 o'clock this morning.
It was pretty surprising to see him up here, though, honestly. I'm like, I ain't even see him. I was sitting in the lot for a nice little minute.
Did you guys see they just did an ICE raid at Chicago O'Hare's rideshare parking lot? Like, as an American, you can't even get gig work anymore. Like, think about it. You have to compete to be able to drive around other people, or you have to compete to drop off people's food. So they did an ICE raid at the Chicago O'Hare parking lot, and they said it was at least 50 to 60 cars out there. And when they were done, there was only like 15. And they're saying that they're not suppressing our wages, right? So let me get this straight. They're not suppressing the wages, but you have to compete with more than double the amount of people who were supposed to be here. And that's not even counting that you're probably gonna get less per ride because there's so many people willing to do the job. Of course they're willing to do it, dude. They're getting assistance. They're not having to pay for a car. They're barely having to pay for rent. Yeah, they can take less wage per ride.
Boy. So we got to continue our coverage of ICE cracking down on illegal immigrant labor, okay? Because you have illegal immigrants coming to this country, working jobs that they should not work. Now, what Democrats don't want to talk about, what they don't want to acknowledge when it comes to the economics of illegal immigrant labor, which is the fact that what is happening is wage suppression, right? What you have are Americans competing with illegals to do jobs that Americans should be doing, that Americans can do. Now, they try to claim that, well, see, illegals are doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do, which I really don't like when people say that, because it implies that there are jobs out there that Americans are too good to do, which in my opinion is a very bad mindset, okay, to have. There is no job that is too good for an American to do. If you don't have a job, if you're living off the government, you should be thankful for a job, regardless of whether or not you're getting paid what you want to get paid. You should just be happy to be able to feed yourself, okay? But regardless, my point is that the illegal immigrants aren't making it better for native-born workers who are looking for employment, who do want to get paid more, because, again, they are creating competition in the labor market. They're driving down wages because these illegals are willing to accept a lot less than Americans will accept. And, again, because of that, there is less money going around in some of these crowded job markets, right? And that's what we have to talk about here today, okay? Again, as ICE is fixing this problem, which I think personally is probably one of the best things that ICE can do to directly affect the wages of the American people. And let's just say liberals are not happy about it, right? Liberals are not happy about the fact that ICE, they're targeting even so-called gig workers, right? Like, for example, Uber drivers and street vendors, right? Like, for example, out in New York City, there was a huge riot due to the fact that ICE was out in the streets arresting illegal immigrants running street vending operations. Take a look.
We begin with breaking news in Lower Manhattan. Things getting heated after federal agents carried out an investigation targeting street vendors. And Fox 5's Arthur Sheehan is live in Lower Manhattan with the very latest on all of this. Arthur.
Bianca, Natasha, we want to caution, we do not know exactly any details about the individual who was arrested. We don't even know the gender right now, or what that person was doing. What we do know, let's show you right away. This is video that was recorded on Canal Street and Church Avenue, over about half a mile from where we are right now. What it does show is that a series or multiple ICE agents, what appears to be ICE agents, appeared at that location and took at least one individual into custody. The agents, who we presume to be ICE, had their tactical vests on, and they also arrived in military vehicles.
That's when all of this started happening. All of these people are protesters. Again, anyone who's been taken into custody, we cannot confirm whether they were actually undocumented immigrants or protesters. The protesters are causing a lot of the issues out here. Blocking traffic. They are pushing people.
I want these people in our fucking city.
Say that to us. Say it, but say it cleanly, please. You don't want people. Why are they?
We don't want these people in our city policing them. They should not have the jurisdiction that they do. They're fakers. I don't believe them to have this authority. I don't think they should be able to cover their faces. They should not be able to kidnap people in the streets.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What about all the traffic that's being blocked and people that need to get emergency?
Traffic and stuff. It's New York City. You cannot. Traffic being blocked is okay if we're going to stop them from kidnapping people, innocent people.
Okay, thank you for talking with us. So as you see, they are, I don't know where we lost our photographer. Yeah, this is what's happening here. And it is just hundreds of people, and people just keep growing, gathering, joining this line. We're now walking down the street even further, down Lafayette, heading toward downtown. People are in suits coming from work. People are just getting off the subway. A lot of people aren't even sure what they are protesting. What did you just say, sir?
My cousin!
Did they arrest him?
Yes! He's back in Dominican Republic!
Yeah, so a lot of, okay, we apologize for the language. There's a lot of people, but people have been throwing things at the ICE agents, blocking traffic. I hope you guys can still hear me okay.
Yes.
But this whole area, if you can avoid this area, do so, because we're just hoping that it doesn't get more violent.
Where are they going now? In other words, are they following the agents as they walk down the street? Is that what's happening, or is this just purely a protest?
No, that's exactly what's happening. This is just a makeshift protest. So this is one of the ICE vehicles here. They were walking back to their cars. Now, one of the agents you can see just getting out of the car, trying to get a hold of one of the other ones. People are pounding on the windows of the car. Whether anyone is inside or whether anyone has been arrested is unclear. Again, people are just stopping traffic, standing in front of the ICE agents, yelling racial slurs. You can see this woman over here is blocking traffic. I've got to move so I don't get hit. There are people here. The ICE agents are trying to get out. And come with me here, Greg. They're not letting them leave. So it's unclear whether people are even inside the vehicle aside from these agents, but these women aren't letting them go anywhere. And at the risk of sounding sympathetic, they're yelling, they're pushing the agents, and the minute that the agents move somebody, that's when these people get thrown to the ground and tensions flare and escalate.
Yeah, so not so peaceful, right? Not so peaceful, okay? The mainstream liberal media has tried to maintain this narrative that these riots are peaceful when, yeah, that's just simply not the case, okay? These people are not peaceful, okay? They're agents of chaos, and they're upset and they're mad because the Trump administration is doing them a favor, right? The Trump administration is making it so they have less competition in the labor market, right? That's really what's happening. For as much as people want to complain about wages and the rich getting rich, all this stuff, you know, leftists complain about, you would think they would appreciate the Trump administration helping them out when it comes to the labor market, right? But apparently not, okay? And that leads me to Chicago, okay, as ICE agents are also arresting rideshare drivers, right? So they're arresting Uber drivers, okay, at the Chicago airport. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Tonight, the protest curfew at the ICE facility in Broadview cleared out nearly all the demonstrators after some tensions flared earlier today.
Meanwhile, ICE is focusing on a new target today, rideshare drivers waiting at O'Hare. Our Victor Jacobo is following those developments from Broadview Now Live. Victor.
Yeah, Joe and Erica, it's quiet here now in Broadview. Pretty much all the protesters left after local law enforcement enforced that 6 p.m. curfew earlier this evening. It's a big contrast from previous Friday nights here outside the ICE facility in Broadview. But while it's calm here now, there were more active scenes earlier today here and around other parts of Chicago. Clashes between protesters and state and local law enforcement outside the Broadview ICE facility reignited. Multiple people were arrested.
Please get off the street.
National Guard members were not seen as police also containing protests in the evening. Near O'Hare Airport, another immigration enforcement operation with video from witnesses showing agents interrogating and detaining rideshare drivers. This lot here near O'Hare Airport is designated for rideshare drivers to park and wait for clients. Witnesses tell us that federal agents came here twice, once in the morning and again in the afternoon. In both instances, multiple people were detained.
Y me preguntó él, oh, ¿tienes documentos?
This Uber driver from Guatemala, who did not want his face shown on camera, says he was eating lunch when agents asked him if he was a U.S. citizen. He rebuffed the agent's request.
Les dije, you know, I cannot help you, please. Let me eat my food.
And the agents walked away, the man says, but other drivers were taken away in what some described as a chaotic scene.
And just grabbing people, checking their IDs. They arrested like, what I seen, like, I don't know, like a bunch of people. They had like vans and stuff like that.
Many flights arriving at O'Hare this week, carrying people coming for Sunday's Chicago Marathon.
This year it feels different.
Reina Torres Medivil is the Consul General of Mexico in Chicago. She says 3,000 runners from Mexico are participating in the marathon. Some have reached out concerned about ICE enforcement. The agency says it's telling people visiting from Mexico to take precautions.
We've been advising them that they should carry a photograph of their passports in their telephones, but also perhaps in you know, a photocopy in your pocket. It's better to be safe.
Well, I mean, you should do that anyways, right? I mean, when you are in a foreign country, right? When you're in a country that you're not from, I mean, generally speaking, when you are out and about, you should carry some form of ID, right? Some form of identification. I think that is just common sense.
Development today, a judge.
Yeah, so with that being said, what you have here, again, is ICE. They are arresting illegal immigrant Uber drivers, right? Now, I'm not surprised by this because a lot of these Uber drivers nowadays, they can't speak English. And, you know, I get Uber drivers all the time that can't speak English, right? You got to speak Spanish to them and tell them where to go, right? And it's like, how did you get a job as an Uber driver if you can't speak English, right? How'd you get a job? But again, it's more common than you think. A lot of these Uber drivers cannot speak English. They can't. They're in the country illegally and they're able to get these ride-sharing jobs, right? They're able to basically be taxi drivers, right? And they also can do street vending, which apparently you need a license for in New York City. But if you're illegal, not really, right? You don't need a license. You just do it. You just do it. And maybe, who knows, maybe they're handing out the licenses to illegal immigrants. I don't know. I'm just saying, regardless, the point is that what happens when you have this influx of people is that demand goes up and the supply of labor also goes up. And because of that, what you have is prices will go up. And you also have the cost of labor, okay, will decrease, which means that people will not get paid as much because they have to compete with the illegals, right? So when you have to compete with illegals for jobs, or you have to compete with illegals for housing, again, that negatively impacts the American people. The cost of housing goes up because you have more people, right, that need housing, more demand. And when you talk about more supply in the labor market, then wages will generally go down because, again, you have more people willing to do the job. That's what's happening. Americans are getting hit on multiple fronts because of the mass immigration issue, okay? And we have more anecdotal evidence of exactly what I'm talking about because apparently American truck drivers are pocketing more cash as Trump cracks down on foreign drivers. Apparently, illegal immigrants can also become truck drivers, right? They can get CDLs, okay, and licensed to drive trucks, even though they don't know English, okay? We've covered these type of stories. And American truck drivers are saying, listen, we're already feeling the effects of the crackdown on illegal immigrants in our market. So let's get into it. American truckers are cheering the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal migrant drivers as not only a means to make highways safer, but also as a step to raking in more cash in markets long known for profiting off cheap foreign labor. President Donald Trump's Department of Transportation has rattled the trucking industry with nationwide orders such as tougher English proficiency standards and drastic restrictions on foreign commercial drivers. The changes follow a string of horrific accidents caused by illegal immigrants who managed to score commercial driver's licenses from various states, aka blue states, right? Blue states like California. Quote, I've definitely noticed some rates going up. The owner and operator of ICV Express said to the Daily Caller News Foundation just days earlier, the operator was easily able to negotiate a load originally posted for $1,000 up to $1,900. Without me even speaking to someone, they approved $1,900. He explained that's almost double of what they had originally posted for, and I would say the normal rate for that lane was about $1,500 to $1,600, and I automatically got $1,900. There are roughly 3.5 million truck drivers who carry a commercial driver's license, CDL, in the United States, according to the American Trucking Association's industry experts estimate that around 200,000 of them carry non-domiciled CDLs. These are commercial licenses issued by state governments to individuals who are not residents of that state, typically applying to foreign nationals. Quote, I don't think that's that many compared to the total number of drivers, but I think it'll more affect certain markets. Denensinko said, quote, they're either in the New York or Chicago area, and it seems like all of their drivers are visa holder drivers with non-domiciled CDLs. Yeah, so again, that matches up with this story that we covered today, okay, about how, again, you have this illegal immigrant labor in New York, in Chicago. They're just allowing illegals to do whatever, right? You can become a superintendent. You can be a police officer. You can be an Uber driver. You can be a street vendor. You can do whatever, right? You can do whatever. If you are an illegal immigrant in this country, you might have more rights than an actual citizen, right? I mean, you're getting health care. You're getting free health care. You're getting all sorts of government aid, and, you know, you're getting these jobs. And, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, well, what can't they do, right? We know they can also register to vote as well, too. Okay, based off the illegal immigrant that was a superintendent that was able to vote. Yeah, they can basically do anything. They can do anything in this country. And that has negative consequences on the rest of society, right? On people who are here legally, especially when you talk about the cost of housing, okay, where you have demand going up, and you talk about labor, right, where you have supply going up, yeah, driving down wages, right? Increasing the cost of housing. That is the double whammy that we're experiencing as Americans due to the influx of illegals that the Democrats and the mainstream liberal media refuse to acknowledge. But it's true. 100% true. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.